I don't train MMA at all. I do boxing classes, wrestling classes, because when the training camp comes, I try to mix it up and polish everything that I have been able to learn, everything that worked for me in wrestling and boxing. I want to develop all the time my knowledge. I want to get better all the time. And I can get better if I only go and train MMA. I need to learn new techniques like in BJJ. You never end up learning. One thing is what you know, and the other is what you do with what you know.
Who do you think should be next for Ilya?
Who should be next for Ilya? 55 has always been so cloudy at the top. Maybe Gaethje. I think him going to 170 to fight Islam, if Islam wins, is a stretch. You know, Islam's big, man. I've never seen Ilya in person, but he seems smaller. I know obviously he can knock anyone out. I do think if they fight, Ilya can knock anybody out from 45 to 170. He has the skills, the power, the technique, and but we've just never seen him in there with somebody that big and somebody with that caliber of wrestling. But I think he should defend the 55 title a few times before that's talked about. We'll see.
Joe Rogan has just reacted to Paddy Pimblett's scary new training footage, and suddenly the conversation around his fight with Justin Gaethje has shifted in a big way. This doesn't look like the same Paddy Pimblett people are used to. The footage coming out of camp shows a sharper, more disciplined version of Paddy, faster entries, tighter boxing, and a clear focus on controlling chaos rather than living inside it. And that matters, because against Justin Gaethje, chaos can get you killed.
I mean, the sport of MMA is so incredibly evolved. I would not have thought that Max Holloway standing with Justin Gaethje would have been a prosperous idea. And I know that that was popular opinion. The majority of you were with me at that time. And it wasn't just who was a better boxer or the X's and O's, it also had to do with a size factor. Max being a 45-pounder, moving up to Gaethje, a big 55-pounder. I mean, I'm just sharing for you. We don't know as much as we think. And it feels like every Saturday we get reminded of that, but then when the weekdays, right? Every weekend we get reminded of that, and then during the weekdays we completely forget it. I don't know that I think that Paddy's weird. I don't know that he has a style with his takedowns or on the ground that is wildly unique. He's really good. He's really good at what he does. But is he strange? Is he awkward? Is that something that Gaethje has to deal with just by example? Does Gaethje have to worry about getting into shape and getting down to weight and getting his left and right hand sharp and stretching his body and sleeping well and knowing how to do jiu-jitsu and sharpening up his double and his takedown, and he's got to deal with this guy that's really awkward and weird? I don't think so. I don't see it that way. Can Paddy strike with Justin? Probably. We don't have evidence of that. Like we don't have some great fight or two or three that ended up stand-up battles that Paddy ended up winning or dominating, but there is times in fights when something happens that you didn't expect would happen. That's where things can unravel very quickly. And maybe you're not overly confident you can win the fight, but you do believe that you can get a takedown when you need one. And you go out there and all of a sudden this guy who's not known for great wrestling or not known for great takedown defense, all of a sudden he's stopping your best attacks. And now you're stuck on your feet, which is not what you envisioned happening. And I have seen moments of rounds, I've even seen entire rounds, where at the conclusion, the judges have gone against Paddy and they were largely stand-up battles. However, right, I mean, the Gordon fight just comes to mind. We're getting a takedown was at a premium. Find out that Paddy's got a hurt knee, but that's all subsequent. It doesn't change the fact that takedowns were at a premium. It doesn't change the fact that Paddy thought he could go out, get on top of a guy, and it didn't happen, and he ends up stuck on his feet, and you, the viewers, saw him having a hard time.
Pressure, but then pressure off the front kick, and then pressure with like a variety of kicks that do a little bit more damage there. And that to me is the way that's going to work. And then once his hands are down, or it's a little bit later in the fight, or he's injured or whatever, he just doesn't move as much. Then you launch into your takedowns, level change, clinch your way in, whatever the setup ends up being, where he can't move and is therefore just not able to have the same kind of, diligent defense that would be necessary to thwart that kind of attack. I think that's what you're going to see from Paddy, if in fact he is successful. But, if he's not, part of that is how you maintain range. And if you don't maintain range well, like I've seen kickboxing instructors be like, you should only throw kicks if they're neutral or you're moving forward, not if they're pressuring into you. But Paddy has gotten away from that at times. Could that cost him here? That's one coach's rule. I'm not saying every coach is quite like that, but you get the idea. Like how you manage that range, you will live or die based on that. It's just I tend to think that's the most important part of this equation.
So just going back to Justin Gaethje's grappling, he's kind of neglected that part of his game for a while now, but he does have a pedigree in wrestling, NCAA. I think he placed 7th in 2010 in one of the divisions. His takedown defense is still decent, but it's going to be, Paddy Pimblett trying to get his back, catch him in transition. How much of an improvement, or how much do you think he can prepare for something like that, sort of not really paying that much attention to that part of his game over this camp? Do you think him and Trevor Whitman are going to be able to put some stuff together where if they do end up in that position, they're going to be able to get out of there safely? Or do you think this is a part of a game that needs to be nourished and worked on for longer than just a training camp to really be able to survive against such a dangerous grappler like Paddy Pimblett?
Yeah, if it was as easy as just doing it very late in your career, then they would just do it that way, but it's not, you know. Like, for folks who don't know, if you place inside the top 8 in your respective weight class, the national championships in the United States, that is considered All-American. You have to get somewhere inside the top 8.
So, this fight has been brewing with tension for months now. Trash talk, disrespect, accusations of being overrated, and a growing feeling that this matchup is about more than rankings. Gaethje represents the old-school brutality of the division, a man who breaks opponents down with pressure, leg kicks, and relentless exchanges. Paddy represents the new wave, unpredictable, fearless, and dangerous the moment a fight hits the mat. Stylistically, it's a nightmare matchup in both directions. If this fight stays standing for long stretches, Gaethje holds the clear danger.
No, I love it. This guy, I love everything he's been saying. He definitely sounds overconfident. He's out here disrespecting legends like Dustin Poirier. I'm going to dog walk this English on Saturday. You watch.
But Dustin's never got a nice word to say about me, lad. So, I was honest and said he looked like shit against Gaethje. Fucking hell, stop fucking crying, you can't get
That wasn't even the fight you were talking about. You said his last fight.
Which? No, I'm saying Dustin looked like shit against Holloway. That was what I said.
You would also look like shit against Holloway.
Well, we'll see. Once I beat you, I could end up fighting him.
Well, you won't be fighting him.
Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, what's your prediction?
I see myself finishing him in under 3 rounds, more than 2 minutes on the floor of me. He gets submitted, but I want to knock him out.
I'm do Paddy. I guess Paddy been on a hot streak right now.
Man, I feel like it's Paddy's time. I hate saying it, but it is. He's a scouser. He doesn't get knocked out.
Paddy Pimblett. He's got a good style, great submissions from the UK.
I see Paddy can get a submission.
Justin Gaethje will win the fight. He has very good hand. He has more experience.
I'm closer to Paddy, so I do think he's going to beat him up.
I would love to see Justin Gaethje get strapped up with the belt.
I'm going to finish him. Taking him to the 4th and 5th round. He's going to be exhausted. He's human. He has a break. I'm going to shake him.
Did you see rumors of Justin Gaethje having staph on his neck?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's one of them. What are we meant to do? You know what I mean? If he's got staph, lad, he's got staph. Doesn't matter if he's got staph or not, I'm still going to smash his head in. But there's lads in our gym who fought with staph, lad, and knock people out in the first round, so it doesn't affect you that bad. But that'll be another excuse for everyone when I win. That'll be like, oh, Justin Gaethje had staph as well. You know what I mean? So it's one of them. I get on with it. I'm going to be turning up in the cage, and all that matters is if I turn up, nobody beats me. I expect a war, obviously. Like, Justin Gaethje is one of my favourite fighters to watch. He's your favourite fighter's favourite fighter, and it's going to be a pleasure to get in there with him. I'd love to have a brawl for 5 rounds. As he said, him versus Michael Johnson, how he introduced himself to the UFC. I'd love to have a fight like that, but I don't think it'll pan out that way, but let's see what happens. Hopefully, I'm getting a performance bonus and a fight of the night bonus.
January 24th, UFC 324. First pay-per-view back, and two guys that you fought, Paddy the Paddy Pimblett, Justin Gaethje. What do you think is going to be the biggest X factor for the winner of that fight?
Great question. I will be in attendance. Two guys that I respect a ton. I've loved watching Paddy rise and even fighting him, obviously having a ton of respect for him. Gaethje, fight of the year 2021 or 2022. We shared the Octagon together. Paddy is better than everybody thinks. Paddy is better than you think, the entire media thinks, the entire world thinks. He's better than the entire MMA landscape thinks. With that being said, Justin Gaethje is always game. Justin Gaethje always shows up, and Justin Gaethje is always violent and dangerous. It's a pick'em fight for me. I do think Gaethje is going to look across the Octagon, see a guy that he should beat, but he's not as easy to beat as he thinks he is, so it's going to be a very interesting fight.
His leg kicks could slow Paddy early. His power could punish defensive mistakes, and his ability to drag opponents into wars is exactly what has broken so many fighters before. One bad exchange, one mistimed step, and the fight could be over. But Paddy's entire path to victory lies in disruption scrambles, sudden level changes, and grappling chaos that forces Gaethje to think instead of swing. Paddy doesn't need to dominate minutes, he just needs one opening, and that's what makes this fight so volatile. Gaethje has improved defensively, but he's still most uncomfortable when structure disappears, and that's where Paddy thrives. The MMA world is split right down the middle. Some believe this is a brutal reality check for Paddy, the moment he runs into a level of violence he's never faced before. Others think this is the perfect storm, a confident, dangerous grappler facing a striker willing to give him opportunities. Joe Rogan's reaction to the footage sums it up best. This version of Paddy looks serious, no showboating, no wasted movement, no reckless chaos, just purpose. And that's why the hype around this fight is exploding again. Because if Paddy Pimblett shows up prepared, patient, and disciplined, this isn't a joke matchup. It's a legitimate threat to one of the most feared men in the division. One mistake either way decides everything. This isn't hype anymore. This isn't talk. This is a collision of styles, eras, and belief, and when the cage door shuts, someone's image is getting shattered.